Hi, and welcome to Mid-South Viewpoint. I'm Byron Tyler. Glad you could join us on today's program. Today we welcome Carol Wiley, who's the director of A Way Out. What's the ministry all about? We're going to unfold the details of this ministry as it impacts those in the sex trafficking industry and those being abused by the sex traffic industry. Carol, is that a fair opening statement?
Most definitely it's fair because these women that we work with are totally exploited by the industry.
And you have been director of this ministry for how long now?
I came on staff in 2000. I started working with the women in 1994 as a counselor.
Now, Carol, it would take, I believe, a special person to have a heart and a love to invest in this type of ministry. Tell me why this ministry tugs on your heartstrings.
It tugs on my heartstrings because the first young woman that I ever met, I don't really know what I expected. But when she came into my counseling room, she was so broken and just couldn't even look me in the eye. And I looked down, and she had scars on her hands. And I asked her, I said, honey, what is that? And she shared that she had worked with this club owner that would send these women out with special clients that would pay for them. And if they didn't want to go, there was a bowl of punishments, and they had to drop out from that bowl of punishments. And there was a man that he wanted her to go with that had been real abusive to her before. And so she told him she didn't want to go. And he held the bowl out, and when she drew her punishment, it was that they took a nail gun and shot her in both of her hands with it. And when she said that to me, I cried. And I just looked at her and I said, honey, do you know who has nail scars in his hands for you and for me, and that he loves you so much? And I say this all the time, but it will forever be true for me. It broke my heart to see her like that, but she won my heart. And these women are just precious. They are absolutely full of potential that's just been lost.
And we talk about potential. That's one of the reasons why we got together today, because you brought a friend with you that would like to share her story, Audrey, and we want to be able to welcome her today to Mid-South Viewpoint. Audrey, now, how did you become acquainted with A Way Out and Miss Carol?
I was in and out of jail from Nashville to Indiana to Memphis, and one of my times in jail, Miss Carol's program was written on the wall, graffiti in the number, and me and another girl called, and Miss Carol allowed me to come.
So in this case, a number was put on the wall for a positive thing.
It was.
In your life.
And it's saved my life.
Wow. So tell me about growing up in your life. What was your life like, about your family life, your parents?
My father got 3 life sentences in 1984. I was 6 years old. Shortly after that, my mother died of cervical cancer in 86. I was 8. And when I was 14, my sister introduced me to crack cocaine and prostitution the day of my birthday. And from there on, that's what I did. Sold my body just to stay high. And I've had 2 children before my third one that I've had to give up for adoption because I didn't have any means to take care of them. But my daughter, which is my third child, came and saved my life. Jesus sent her to save my life, I think.
The road to addiction for you, you said 14 years old. Is that the first time you'd ever had any type of drug before?
Yes, sir.
Was it an automatic sensation and a desire to fill that need, or were you leery about the drug? Or
I trusted my sister. I shouldn't have, probably, but the very first time I tried it, I was hooked. I felt like that day for 20 years after.
20 years. What's it like being addicted to drugs for so long?
I guess it becomes a way of life, of course, but then when you try to step out into a new life, you don't even think you're capable. And so it takes good people like Miss Carol and A Way Out to pour into you what you need, which is the love of Christ through them. And that's the only thing I know that has saved me. all the motivation and all the encouragement they've given me.
Audrey, was there ever a point during that journey you thought, why even keep going on? I mean, that you just felt maybe hopeless or helpless?
Absolutely. More than once.
More than once? What is it that people don't understand who aren't living that type of lifestyle? What is it that we don't understand about someone going through an addiction like that and feeling the need to live a life like that?
Well, you might not understand that that's not where they want to be. It might look like it is, but it's not where I want it to be anyhow. And that's just not where they want to be. It's not really who they are. It's who they've become.
You just basically were just trying to survive
Absolutely.
From one high to the next high.
In the beginning, I obviously had to increase. But over time, I think it wasn't even about the high anymore. It was more about survival.
You went to jail because of the addiction, or what was it that caused you to have to go to jail?
I've been in jail a lot of times. I was in prison 3 times, and in jail over 100 for prostitution, various paraphernalia, small drug charges.
There was that one day you just happened to look at the wall, your friend looked at the wall, and you saw Miss Carol, or you saw a Way Out's number posted there on the wall.
Yes. And she called first, and she talked to Jackie Wilcutt. And so Jackie was so sweet and so nice. And the girl said, I'm going Thursday. And I said, oh my gosh, ask her, can I talk to her? And she said to have me call back. And I did, and they allowed me to come. They picked me up and dusted me off and loved me like never before, that's for sure.
You felt a love and acceptance you hadn't felt before.
Never.
Wow. God bless you, Audrey, and thinking about having your mom and dad not there for you during those days that you really needed them most, But you soon discovered there was a Heavenly Father, didn't you?
Absolutely.
Tell me about that relationship with Him.
When I first came into A Way Out, Miss Carol prayed with me. Well, I knew of the Lord growing up from my grandmother, but I've strayed so far that I guess I forgot who the Lord was. And Miss Carol prayed with me my first day in, and I just knew that somebody loved me and somebody had kept me all this time. And now I just am learning each day how to build a relationship with the Lord and looking at where my life has and how He's given back so much in my life and how He's changed so many things around, things I didn't think would ever be possible. How I look at them now and they are possible. I'm raising my daughter. I live in my own apartment, and the Lord has just gave me many blessings.
Carol, what a wonderful story that I know as a ministry, someone who is dedicated to the work that you are through A Way Out. That just must fill your heart over and over again to hear Audrey's story.
It does. And what blesses my heart so much is in this ministry, there's a lot of blessings, but there's heartaches too, because not all the women stay, and not all the women persevere. And Audrey is one of those that when she first came, she left. And through just different circumstances, and she ended up in jail, and she was expecting, and the Lord provided a way for us to help her get out of jail and come to us. And so I actually had a first in my life with Audrey. I got to be in the delivery room when her little girl was born.
Wow.
And so what a joy that was. And it's been such a joy to see Audrey come and be such a committed mom. And her heart is committed to the Lord, and to watch her grow. It never ceases to be amazing to me to see what God can do in these women's lives if they'll just commit their time to even try. Just set aside some time. What I tell them all the time, if you'll just stay, if you'll just give God a chance, there's all hope for you to have a different life. And so Audrey's a good example of that. One of the verses in our ministry is in Isaiah 61, it talks about and the goal. Our goal is in there, and it is that these young women become oaks of righteousness, a planting for the Lord for His splendor and glory. And so that's the theme of our banquet this year. And Audrey is just a perfect example of what God does. Is He's building these young women, and He's taking their brokenness and He's changing it, and He's building them into oaks of righteousness that with roots that go deep in the Lord, a planting for the Lord for His splendor and His righteousness.
So, Audrey, you got into A Way Out, but then you, for some reason, felt like you didn't want to stay. You left the program.
I did.
Why was that?
I was torn between the streets and homosexuality and just God. I was torn. I felt like a rope.
So there was a lot of confusion in your life.
Absolutely. I was out there a whole year after I left. Then I went to the doctor and he said I was pregnant. I thought, what am I going to do now? I can't even take care of me.
Did you think that A Way Out wasn't an option for you, that they weren't going to be there for you since you left the program?
Yes, I did. I think they had just forgot about me, really.
What changed that?
Well, I called Miss Carol. I was in jail, and I just wanted her to know I was alive. 'Cause I knew that her heart, she loved me, but I thought she had given up on me. And I called and told her I was pregnant and facing 25 years. And she urged me to get into another program, but nothing would take me. I was so far along. And so I called her back a few days later, and she told me she couldn't house me. And then she came to jail to see me. She told me she'd prayed, and the Lord told her that this is where He wanted me. And they came and got me May 1st. May 22nd, I was in the delivery room.
Wow. What was it like for you to have Miss Carol there in that room with you?
It was beautiful. My mom couldn't be there, but she could.
You know, Audrey, it's wonderful that God would love us so much that He would give us a surrogate mom just in the right moment we need it. And Miss Carol was there for you the whole time, wasn't she?
She was.
Wow.
Her and Miss Jackie flipped a coin to see who could come in with me.
So Miss Carol won the toss.
She did.
Wow.
She named my baby girl
And what's your baby girl's name?
Catherine Dale,
Catherine.
after my grandmother.
Catherine Dale. Carol, how do you continue after hearing that story? I mean, the fact that there's another life involved here now, and Audrey is a mom.
Audrey is a mom, and she's such a good mom. And little Catherine is just kind of she's just our little joy running around. She has probably 15 grandmothers that baby her and love on her. And she is beautiful, she's smart, she's sweet, and she loves her mama.
You see this all the time, Carol. I mean, you see women like Audrey in desperate places and in bondage, not able to get out or think they can get out of their environment.
We do, Byron, and it really is a shame because they need hope. They're without hope, and without hope, I really believe that it's just a downward spiral path to death. And they need hope. They need the hope that only Christ can give. And I'm a firm believer that no permanent change is going to take place in one of these women's lives or any of our lives apart from a personal growing relationship with Christ. And that's the key. We offer a lot of classes. We offer a lot of help financially and meet their needs in every way we can. But the major thing that holds their life together is whether or not they choose to have a relationship with Christ.
That's really the only thing, really?
It's the only thing.
Audrey, have you tried other things to get you out of your circumstances and to help you?
I've just tried my own strength. but the Lord is what's brought me where I am. I've got 2 years clean coming up.
How does that feel?
Great.
Wow. What's it like to play with that little girl, to hold that little girl in your arms?
Sometimes it feels like a dream because by all rights, it wouldn't have happened without, totally surrendering to the Lord. And of course, this program through the Lord, it feels like a dream that I never saw coming.
All of what took place in your life, Audrey, was never wasted. God brought you to himself for a purpose so you're his trophy. You're his trophy of grace of what he can do in somebody's life. How have you seen your life possibly impact others? Have you been able to share your story with others in the same type of places that you were?
I have. I've talked to different people, just that I've known from the past. I still live in kind of the same area, and I, tell them what's going on, and, they're always like, wow, you're so different. And I had a friend that is in the program with us that I knew from being out there in the streets, and she's doing wonderful also.
What about your dreams now? What's your hopes and your dreams now that you have this new start?
My biggest dream is just to be the best mom I can be. And my hope is to find a good job that would give me a chance with my record, obviously, so that I can provide for my daughter the way I want to.
Yeah.
Them are small dreams to some people, but they're huge dreams to me.
And that is a wonderful dream to have. There's no better dream than being a parent to our children and being the kind of parent that God wants us to be to our child. And so I think that's a very wonderful dream and goal to have. And maybe somebody listening right now that has a job for you, Audrey, and they might want to call us here at the station and tell us, hey, I'd like to know more about Audrey and see if there's a way that she might be able to work in my business. We can hope that somebody might, give a prayer to or even give us a call about that. Carol, we were talking about, you mentioned a moment ago about this banquet.
Yes.
And there's a banquet that's coming up, and we want our friends to know about it. And you've got some details for us.
I sure do, Byron. Our banquet is going to be on Thursday evening, October the 23rd, at Bellevue Baptist Church. Our keynote speaker is going to be Reverend Sandy Wilson from Second Presbyterian, and Audrey will be sharing her whole story that evening with us. And we have a silent auction, and it's going to be an evening that's just a lot of fellowship and a really good meal. And I think that people that come will leave with their hearts encouraged because there's going to be several tape testimonies, and then Audrey will be sharing hers live. And if you're interested in coming, you can call our office at 452-7884, and you can ask to speak to Lacey. She's in charge of the tickets. And the tickets are $50 a piece, or if you wanted to buy a table for 10, it's $450.
So this is really a great opportunity to come alongside and say, hey, Carol, a way out. I believe in what you're doing, and I know that you need support, and this is a way to do that.
It most definitely is, and we do need continual support. We need prayer support. We need volunteers. And, of course, financial support always, because the women that are in our program pay nothing. All of their needs are provided for by the program. And we do not take any government funds at all. We're supported by churches and individuals and some companies.
Well, Audrey, I just want to thank you so much for sharing and also let you know that Miss Carol has a real special place in my heart too. I have a family member that was caught in a lifestyle similar to yours, and she didn't make it. And the drugs and that lifestyle just took her life. And I'd like to really dedicate this program in her memory, and to say thank you for being strong, and to say thank you for allowing Christ to work in you and see that you can help others maybe that are on the edge where you were. It's a great story. It's a great story. You talk about your daughter and this relationship. Now you have 2 other children.
I do.
Do you have contact with them?
Just recently got in contact with my firstborn, Jalen. He'll be 12. And I have not seen him since he was 4 months old, and the mom found me on Facebook, and sometime soon we'll be able to reunite in person, but we've been talking by text and my phone, and he's going to be baptized this month.
Is he really? What's it been like for you to connect with him again?
It's been special. It's been sweet.
And there's one other child that you don't have contact with?
I don't.
Yeah.
I'm still trying.
Yeah. Well, we'll just pray that God will allow that to come about, and you can have another reunion there, something special time. It's exciting that your son's going to be baptized. What are some things you are learning personally in this journey with Christ as you depend upon him, as you trust him? What are you learning about Jesus?
That I can't do things my way. I have to know that his way is the right way for me. That's the main thing. And I just have to depend on the Lord for everything, like every need for me.
What are some ways since you have made this trust in him and you are walking with him, what are some specific things you've seen him do in your life?
Well, he restored mine and my son's relationship, my family that, I haven't really been around in 20 years. At 14, I kind of just left home in and out. And, like, my grandmother acts like none of that's ever happened. Like, we love one another.
So you have a relationship now with your grandmother?
A good one.
Oh, so you're getting to go to her home and taste some grandma's cooking now.
She's getting a little older, so
I understand.
She tastes my cooking.
She takes your cooking. Well, at least you're having that time together. So some other things are happening.
Well, my brothers and sisters, we haven't quite got along either. And my sister is 13 years older than me. That's actually who gave me my first drugs. Well, I can slowly see the Lord repairing things between us. Maybe it won't be what normal brothers and sisters look like, but just to repair it even a little.
Is she still caught in that lifestyle of drug addiction?
I'd have to say yes. She's actually in a rehab here in Memphis, and I hope that it works for her. It'd be great if it did.
So that's something to pray for.
It is, and I have been.
Yeah. Wow. Of course, we need to pray for you a job.
Absolutely.
And something where you would be able to keep the food on the table and a place over the head of that little baby Catherine. Now, how old is Catherine?
16 months.
16 months old. What a wonder. I have a granddaughter, 20 months, so that's about the same age. That's such
so sweet.
Oh, I can imagine. What are some things you enjoy doing with Catherine?
I like reading to her. She likes for me to read. And she thinks I'm her. I don't know what she thinks. We have to play on the floor together. And I just love being with her. I love to cook for her. I love to love on her. I just love her.
Yeah. Miss Carol, in order to do a ministry like this, you have to go into some dark and some messy places. Some places where a lot of church people, try to maybe avoid, don't go. But these are places where Jesus showed up oftentimes.
We do. We try to be wise in what we do, but we have to go into neighborhoods and where their tracks are. If we're gonna if we pick up a young woman, if she calls sometimes, we have gotten to a point where we don't have enough housing, so we don't go out to the street as much as we used to, because if one said yes, I have no place to put her a lot of times. And so what we do now is we do get referrals from hospitals, from different churches. Sometimes a woman will go into a church to try to find help, and we get them from attorneys. Actually, we're interviewing a young woman now that's in prison, and I really hope we can help her. Actually, she's been held in the detention center. until they bring her back to trial, because she's just turned 19 and she's been abused since she was 5 years old.
Hi.
And so we're hoping that we can help her. We're trying to work out some things right now because she's going to have some educational needs and things like that.
So really, Carol, by the time a young woman like Audrey gets to where she is, I mean, you go back up to her past, and usually to get her to where she is today, there's a whole lot of baggage that has been carried through life with her.
There is. And what we try to do is we bring them, we just accept them where they are. And we see, I really do see potential in every one of them that walks in the door. And it really doesn't matter to me what they're dressed like or what they smell like or anything else. You just look there and you see, you know, that's one of God's creations that has potential to be conformed into the image of Christ. And that's where we start. That's the way I see them. That's the way Jackie and Lacey see them. That's the way our volunteers see them. And so we just start right there and try to do whatever it takes to help them see that they have that potential that God's given them. I tell every one of them when they come in that I promise them that they're going to be treated with dignity, because they have absolutely been created in the image of God, and because of that, they have a dignity that no one has a right to touch, and that's the way we treat them. They're not just street urchins. They're not just prostitutes. They are God's creation with all kinds of potential, and that's what we see, and that's the way we move with them.
Whom Christ died for. Whom Christ died for. Audrey, you've got a real special and important part coming up on October 23rd. Have you thought about how you're going to share your story?
I have. I'm excited. I know if I'm quiet, it can't help anybody.
Right now, you have an opportunity to invite listeners to come to Bellevue on October 23rd. Why don't you give a special invitation from yourself?
You ought to come out, hear my story, hear about our program that saved a lot of the girls' lives through Christ, and just come on out and see what we have to say.
That's perfect. That is a perfect invitation for all of our listeners to come out. And Carol, again, it's going to be Thursday night, October 23rd, and the time?
The doors open at 5:45 for the silent auction to start, and dinner will be served at 6:30.
Okay, and you can get tickets by calling 452-7884. Now, you also have a website that we want to refer our friends to.
Yes, www.ccvmemphis.org.
ccvmemphis.org. And go to the website and learn more information about how to pray, also to contact for volunteer opportunities.
The office number is 901-452-7884. And I failed to say, but we are under the umbrella of Citizens for Community Values of Memphis, and we are their ministry.
You are. And together, you're doing a wonderful job in our community and have been for many years. And I just want to say thank you for what you're doing for Christ's kingdom. And Audrey, I want to thank you, too, for what you're doing for Christ's kingdom, to let Jesus use your life and to share your story today.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Byron.
Well, friends, that's all the time we have on this edition of Mid-South Viewpoint. I do appreciate you stopping by. Please go to the website and learn more, ccvmemphis.org, ccvmemphis.org. Call that number, 901-452-7884. Don't forget the banquet coming up at Bellevue Baptist Church on Thursday, October 23rd. Please come out and support the ministry. Dr. Sandy Wilson will be giving a special address to that night, and we'll get an opportunity to hear Audrey's story completely on that night. Pray for her, too. That's all the time we have on this edition of Mid-South Viewpoint. I'm Byron Tyler. Thanks for stopping by. Bye-bye.